Hello kids, I hope you all are fine. Today we are going to start chapter number 19, that is Ancient Civilization. Let's begin. Early human beings were food hunters and food gatherers. They moved from one place to another in search of food. As the time passed, they learned to grow crops and lead a settled and civilized life. Let us read about the three earliest civilizations in the world that came up around 5000 years ago. The Mesopotamian civilization. The Mesopotamian civilization developed between the river Tigris and Euphrates. So the term Mesopotamian means land between rivers. It lies in the modern day Iraq. The people. Each city of Mesopotamian civilization was ruled by a king. Ur was one of the biggest city. People worshipped many gods and goddesses. They built temple called ziggurat from god. Each city had its own god. Some of the famous kings of Mesopotamia were Sargon and Hammurabi. Men and women in ancient Mesopotamia both worked, and the main occupation were growing crops and raising livestock. Other occupation includes potter, shoemaker, fisherman, teacher, and priest. Boxing and wrestling were popular sports. Children played with dolls, cards, and other toys. Achievements. The main achievements of the Mesopotamian civilization were: number 1, development of cities; number 2, division of an hour into 60 minutes and a minute into 60 seconds. We divided time this way even today. The invention of writing. People wrote from right to left with a pen made of reed. They were the first to write down the laws. They were the first to develop a library. The Egyptian civilization. The Egyptian civilization developed along river Nile in Africa. The civilization was known as Gift of Nile as the river made the area very fertile. The people, the king was the most important person. He was the absolute ruler and owner of all the land. Egyptian people believed that the pharaoh was a living god. The main occupation of common people were farming, fishing, trading, pottery making, etc. Khufu was a famous pharaoh. The priest and other officials assisted them. Egyptians believed in many gods and goddesses. The chief god was sun god. He was called Ra. Osiris was another important god. Egyptians enjoyed music, dancing, and playing games. Achievements. The Egyptian wrote on sheets that looked like paper. These were made from a plant called papyrus. The Egyptians were great builders. They built huge buildings called pyramids that were tomb of their dead king. The Pyramid of Giza is the largest pyramid in the world. The Egyptians developed a method of preserving their dead bodies. This ritual is called mummification. The dead bodies were called mummies. The Chinese civilization. The Chinese civilization developed along river Huanghu, that is also known as Yellow River. The people. The king was the most powerful person of the Chinese civilization. Qing Shi Huangdi was a famous king. The king was helped by the priests, officers, and soldiers. The occupations of common people were farming, trading, weaving, and pottery making. The Chinese worshipped the forces of nature such as the sky, the sun, and the river. They celebrated many festivals to honor and please their god. People sang, danced, and flew kites. Kites were also used to send messages during wars. Achievements: the Chinese wrote from top to bottom on bamboo plates, animals' bones, and silk cloth. Later, they began to write on paper. Tea was first grown in China. Today, it is a popular drink all over the world. The Chinese were the first to produce silk and trade in silk cloth. Other inventions of China's civilization were the compass, the umbrella, etc. The Chinese built a long wall to protect themselves from their enemies. This wall is called the Great Wall of China. It is so huge that it is visible from the outer space. Thank you, kids. I hope the chapter is clear to you all.